Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Game News Roundup. This is being recorded live, as always, twitch.tv/TrunksWD. It is October 10th, Monday, October 10th, 2022. And I'm trying to get to 10,000 subs. So if you're not already subbed, be sure to subscribe. If you enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment if you have anything to add about any of the gaming news or whatnot. But yeah, I'm less than 400 away from 10,000 subscribers. Like, come on. I know that's a pitiful number, but it'd be kind of cool to get to that next, 1,000 milestone or whatever. So, anyways, before I go on to that for too long, we're going to start with, as usual, the latest VGChartz Estimates, week ending October 1st, 2022, which is also the 5th and final week of the September month. For those that don't know, usually when we do is our March, June, September, and December are all 5-week months. Why do we have 5 weeks in some of those months? It's because it's 52 weeks in a year, and if it was 4 weeks per month, 4 times 12 is 48. So, yeah, 4 weeks have an extra... 4 months have one extra week added to them. And actually, once every bunch of years, you might get an extra... a 5th week added to January, but I digress. We basically have a statistical tie between the Switch and the PS5. With our margin of error, little minor adjustments could occur, but right now we have the Switch just a hair ahead of the PS5, 271,000 units sold, 269,000 for the PS5, 186,000 for the Series X and S. The PS5 and the Series X and S did see a bit of a boost due to the launch of FIFA 23 and more stock being available for, I believe it was like the PS5. And obviously, Series S is generally readily available, so some people pick that up. Along with FIFA 23. So yeah. North America, US, and Canada, it's still as close as always. But PS5 actually did take a bit of a lead. 95,000 for the PS5, 84,000 for the Switch, 81,000 for the Series X and S. In Europe, we got the PS5, topped 100,000 for the week. 101,000, 67,000 for the Switch, 62,000 for the Series X and S. And then in Japan, Switch continues to just do its usual domination. 70,000 sold for the Switch. PS5 with 18,000 in Japan. Series X and S 13,000, which, as I always like to mention, those sales don't look... Yeah, it's in third. The sales might not look great for the Series X and S in Japan. But for Japan, for Xbox, these are some of the best weeks Xbox has ever really seen in Japan. It's been consistent. As long as there's stock, the sales for the Series X and S has been consistently like 10 to 15,000. Which, for Xbox, is good. Obviously, if the Switch was doing that, that'd be really bad. Or even PS5 with stock, you never know. Some weeks, PS5 will sell a couple thousand, 18,000 this past week. PS5, it all depends on stock. And it's looking like September did see some improved stock. It's pretty much the best month of the year was September for the PS5 stock-wise. Which is leading into, the holidays. October, then definitely November, then December. Potentially looking at as long as Sony is able to get stock out, shortages are improving, we should get a decent holiday across the board for all three. But yeah, lifetime sales, we got the Switch at 113.56 million, PS5 23.99 million, and then the Series X and S 17.23 million. Again, these are lifetime sales, and yeah, PS5 just a hair away from 24 million. So yeah, at the end of the last quarter, we're basically at 24 million, just a hair under 24 million for the PS5. And I believe I did add an extra comment for the quarter, the July to September quarter. Our sell-through, before adjustments, when the monthly reports come out for the US, UK, and Europe, we have the Switch at 3.91 million for the quarter. July, the July, August, September quarter, just a hair over 3 million for the PS5 and 2.14 million for the Series X and S. Again, barring any adjustments to September when more data comes through. So yeah, and we're also likely expecting probably about 3.4 million for the PS5 shipments for the quarter. Again, there's always a gap between shipped versus sold, and it takes time for consoles to ship across the world, get into retail, and make it, to consumers' hands. But so yeah, again, this is FIFA 2023 week, which in some places which had really good sales, some places not as much, some places it varies. Mainly, obviously, Europe is where the biggest boost occurred. Now, Looking at these, as I always like to do, PS5 versus the same week for the PS4 in 2015. Launch the line for the same weekend. Same for the Series X and S versus Xbox One. PS5 sales are basically flat compared to the PS4. I mean, down just over 2,000 units, but relatively speaking, it's flat compared to the same week for the PS4. While Series X and S compared to Xbox One is up by nearly 73,000 units. So yeah, the PS4 for the same week at 271,000, and then for Xbox One was 113,000. So yeah, the Series X and S continues to trend ahead of the 360 and the Xbox One, and to be the fastest selling Xbox generation to date. Continuing that. Year-on-year sales, Switch sales are actually up almost 20,000 units, 7.6%. PS5 is up 6,500, about 2.5%. Series X and S is up about 41,000, 28.8%. So yeah, week-on-week sales change. Switch sales did drop it by about 19,000 units. Again, Splatoon 3 gave a big boost, and it's been a slow decline after that. But still, sales are still up year-over-year, so it's still good. And PS5 sales, thanks to FIFA, about 21,000 improvement week over week, and the Series X and S about 13,000 improvement. And so far, 2022 year-to-date estimated sales, we got the Switch, almost 12 million, 11.84 million units. PS5, 7 million for the year, and Series X and S, 5.92 million. So, in the next week, we should be seeing the Switch at over 12 million, and the Series X and S over 6 million again for 2022 year-to-date, which would be the week ending October 8th. So yeah, that is it for the latest VGChartz estimates for the week ending October 1st. We can quickly go over some of our monthly sales comparisons. These are the last ones for August. Later this week, we'll be starting the first ones for September. I always like to start with the ones for Japan, as we get all the final data for that already available. Well, the U.S., we get monthly reports, once a month. That won't be around for another, week and a half, 2 weeks or so. And then UK and Europe monthly reports, usually sometime in the middle of the month. It can vary depending on when the data comes out. But yeah, PS5 versus Series X and S launch line sales comparison through August 2022. The PS5 is currently 6.2 million ahead of the Series X and S. So yeah, 22.7 million for the PS5 at the end of August. Again, end of August. 16.5 million for the Series X and S. Again, this is for the end of August. While our latest estimate is obviously for another month beyond that. PS5 currently about 2.5 million behind the PS4 tracking wise. While the Series X and S is about 3 million ahead of the Xbox One. Some other comparisons. PS5 versus the Wii in August 2022 is, Wii sales were, absolutely crazy. So, unsurprisingly, the PS5 has fallen, 8.7 million behind the Wii. Again, PS4 was behind the Wii for years when you align the launches. But the PS4, better legs, eventually caught back up and ended up selling about, 16 million or so more lifetime. So, we will see how things are in 3, 4, 5 years' time. See how the PS5 is comparing to the Wii. We now have a bunch of Switch comparisons. We got US here, Switch versus Wii in the US. Again, see, Switch sales are like crazy, but Switch has outsold the Wii worldwide, but it's not outsold it in the US actually, or Europe. We'll go over that in a moment. But this is in the US, Switch versus Wii. You see the gap, well over 7 million. That the Switch was behind the Wii, but it has shrunk. Again, if you're wondering why these big ups and downs, it's because one launched, I believe, is November, and one launched in March. So where the holidays are, they don't line up. So you see Switch holiday, and then boop, Wii holiday, Switch holiday, Wii holiday, Switch, that's why you get the ups and downs. But obviously, you see this last Wii holiday didn't gain that much of a difference there over those couple months there, and then boom. Switch is currently 2.4 million behind after 66 months. But if you look at lifetime sales, the Switch is just under 5 million away from outselling the Wii in the US. Might as well take a quick look at the Switch versus the Wii in Europe. Again, tracking behind. It's very similar. If you look at it, it's very similar. It's currently 2.7 million behind the Wii, the Switch, after 66 months. But again, if you look at lifetime, the Switch is 4.6 million away from outselling the Wii in Europe, lifetime sales-wise. And we got Switch versus the 360. Now, the interesting thing is the Switch has been tracking ahead of the 360 its entire lifetime, versus it being behind the Wii. But in the end, the 360 did sell more than the Wii in the US, thanks to its stronger legs and a big boost from Kinect, which is this big dip here. I will safe to say is that is when the Kinect came out. It was right there. But yeah, the Switch is about 10 million ahead of the 360 launch aligned, and is about 7 million away from outselling the 360 in the US. So that'll do it for the quick look at the monthly sales comparisons. Again, go to VGChartz.com if you want to check any of this stuff out, obviously, as well as the gaming news. Now, last week we did a special extra Game News Roundup of Brazil announcing the approval of Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition. Since then, some new stuff through that huge report has going through it all. We've got a couple of extra articles here to go over. So yeah, the Brazilian regulators, one of the main reasons they approved it, basically said, yeah, Nintendo was able to compete without Activision Blizzard games, specifically saying Call of Duty. So Nintendo was able to compete without Activision Blizzard games. So can Sony compete without Activision Blizzard games? This is basically saying if Microsoft decides to make Call of Duty and Activision Blizzard games Xbox exclusive, Sony will still be able to compete, because so is Nintendo. It's basically what it comes down to. But yeah, so a direct quote from the report. Again, this is translated from Google Translate. So if some of the things seem a little off there, that'd be why. Some of the grammar seems a bit off. But anyways, with the acquisition of a publisher such as Activision Blizzard, and considering the theoretical risk of the company's content becoming exclusive to Xbox, it's likely that the eventual conclusion of the transaction will give Microsoft a considerable competitive advantage in the segment of consoles. Even so, CADE, the Brazilian regulatory body, does not see that such an advantage represents a risk of closing this market for current competitors, referring to Nintendo and Sony, the Switch and the PlayStation. As already seen, Nintendo does not currently rely on any content from Activision Blizzard to compete in the market. In turn, Sony has several attributes: strength of the world's leading brand for more than 20 years, extensive experience in the sector, largest user base, largest install base of consoles, robust catalog of exclusive games, partnerships with multiple third-party publishers and brand-loyal consumers, etc., which should contribute to maintaining the competitiveness of PlayStation in a possible post-operation scenario, even in the face of possible loss of access to Activision Blizzard content. Furthermore, it is important to highlight that the central objective of CADE's activities is the protection of competition as a means of promoting the well-being of the Brazilian consumer, and not the defense of the particular interest of specific competitors. So yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree with their conclusion. Basically, saying, yes, if Nintendo can compete without Activision Blizzard games, so can Sony. If you look at some of the best-selling games on the PlayStation, you got all the Spider-Man first-party games, God of War, Horizon, Gran Turismo. Eventually we'll have Wolverine, and then they've got Final Fantasy VII Remake, Part 1, 2, as PlayStation exclusives. Final Fantasy 16 is a PlayStation exclusive. Forspoken, I think, is a PlayStation console exclusive, mind you. Most of these, I think, might eventually come to PC or have come to PC, and some other games they have announced. So, yeah. And one other thing coming out from that report, Xbox Game Pass, we actually have some numbers, not subscriber numbers, but we do know Xbox Game Pass generated $2.9 billion in revenue in 2021. Looking at their report, according to one little chart they released here, $2.9 billion generated from Xbox Game Pass. And we believe, it's not 100% certain, that this is just Xbox Game Pass, not including PC Game Pass. And for 2021 calendar year, Xbox generated $16.28 billion, which does mean Xbox Game Pass accounted for 17.8% of all Xbox revenue generated in 2021. And we do know in January of this year, Microsoft did announce Xbox Game Pass has surpassed 25 million subscribers. But yeah, $2.9 billion generated. I don't think they spend nearly that much on getting on third-party indie games or even some AAA games. I believe there was a report that they only spent like $5 to $10 million to get Guardians of the Galaxy on Game Pass. So at that much, you kind of figure out, like, okay, well, 2.9 billion. Obviously, yeah, you would think, okay, the cost of servers, and you would think, obviously, this includes, first-party, games and stuff. But is probably profitable or breaks roughly even. Because I believe at one point there was a report that Microsoft said, yes, any money they do make from Game Pass goes into getting more games on Game Pass. So basically their goal is to try to grow Game Pass as quickly as they can and make it as sustainable and profitable as possible in the future. If you look at, like, Netflix lost money for years and years and years before it finally turned a profit. Disney Plus is losing Disney money, which also why they just are about to raise the price from $8 a month to $11 a month for Disney Plus. So, a little bit of other gaming news from today. Phil Spencer posted a tweet celebrating the 25th anniversary of Fallout 25. However, there was something in this tweet here on his shelf here. That's okay. You look up. All right. Okay. You look up, and you're like, wait a minute. What's this thing right here? What is this? It looks like a mini Xbox Series S. What the heck? So, speculation. I like to say Phil Spencer, he might have teased the Xbox Cloud streaming device, which is codenamed Keystone, which we do know Microsoft has confirmed is real. They're just working, trying to figure it out. Trying to make a streaming device. So you just plug it into the TV. You can play your Xbox games again through cloud gaming. So as long as your internet is fast enough. But yeah, it kind of looks like a Series S, but a lot smaller because you're looking at, well, there's an Xbox controller, and that device looks to be not potentially smaller or about the same size as the controller. So likely is. And also, funny enough, Xbox replied, "Now, what did we say about putting old prototypes on your shelf, boss?" Which makes me think this might have been posted on purpose, or it was a whoopsie. And it started blowing up on Twitter, and then Xbox was like, ah, damn it. But since they did say old prototype, it is an old prototype for the cloud streaming device. And the final look of it, whenever it might eventually come out, might be completely different. We don't know. So, other news. Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden is coming out January 19th, 2023 for the Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Switch, PS4, and PC. And also Persona 5 Royal is going to come to the PS5, Series X and S, Switch, Xbox One, PC, and Game Pass on October 21st. Persona 5 Royal is already out on the PS4. So, yeah, if you're a fan of Persona games, 3 Portable and 4 Golden are coming out for pretty much everything that is not available out yet. January 19th, 2023, and Persona 5 Royal comes out October 21st on pretty much everything, although it's already out on PS4. Another couple quick things. God of War Ragnarok has gone gold, which means it is definitely not going to get delayed. Basically means the main development of God of War Ragnarok is done. And basically just developers are just going to work on bug fixes, and they'll probably have a day one patch like any other game. It basically means main development of the game is done. It's just going through it and just fixing bugs at this point. So yeah, God of War Ragnarok comes out on PS5, PS4 on November 9th, so in about a month's time, or just under a month's time at this point. But what was nice about the actual tweet itself by Santa Monica Studio, the main developers, they did point out all the other support studios in the same tweet. PlayStation Creative Arts, Valkyrie Entertainment, Bluepoint Games, Red Hot, Super Alloy, Jetpack, Super Genius, and Original Force Studios help support development on it. And one last bit of gaming news. Steam Deck. If you're wanting a Steam Deck, you can now get one without requiring a reservation. You can go buy one on their website right now. Or at least you were able to when this was written. And also the Steam Deck Dock is now available for $89. Which, if you want to know what the dock look like, it's not like the Switch dock. It's a bit smaller. It's just a little thing here, but also it does have a bunch of extra USB ports there. This I'm actually not sure. Is this power for the device? I'm not totally sure. But you just plop it in. You can see all the HDMI cable. One's HDMI, one is power. controllers, maybe. But yeah, the dock is available if you have a Steam Deck. And as I previously stated, there's a report that the Steam Deck has shipped over 1 million units. So we figure considering as required reservations, you'd assume sales at this point are definitely over 1 million sold. And also, yeah, if you do order the Steam Deck dock, expected delivery time is 1 to 2 weeks. So you take a quick look here at all of what's there. So, but yeah, 3 USB-A 3.1 Gen 1 ports, a gigabit Ethernet port, display port, which is nice. You don't usually see that on devices. HDMI 2.0 port, multi-stream transport enabling multi-monitor support. And it supports up to 4K 60Hz or 1440p 120Hz. FreeSync support. USB-C for power, 6-inch USB-C captive cable comes with it, yada yada, and whatnot. But so you look at the back here. Gigabit Ethernet, USB ports, HDMI 2, display port, power, and USB-C cable to Steam Deck here. So yeah, it is now available, and that will do it for what is going to be a shorter Game News Roundup. It's because, well, we did that bonus one last Wednesday, and today being a holiday in the US, there was less gaming news to go over. So yeah, as always, if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment if you have any if you have anything to add, what you think about all this gaming news. Yeah, VGChartz Estimates, the stuff with the Brazil's approval of Microsoft's Activision Blizzard deal. But yeah, I think at this point, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.